Here are 3 machines that every billionaire has used to make his wealth from literally $0. Firstly, we have to understand that all billionaires made their money in 3 ways. Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Carlos Slim, to name a few, all made money by starting businesses. Melinda Gates and Mackenzie Scott made billions through divorce. Well, for most of us, we have 0 chances to become billionaires through divorce. Then we have Jim Walton and his siblings who became billionaire through inheritance. Well, if you are watching this video, there are 0 chances your parents are billionaire, dollar billionaires to be specific, not Venezuelan currency billionaire. Because, as of today, 1 billion Venezuelan bolivar is 0.005 United States dollars. At least you can call yourself a billionaire if you go to Venezuela. Anyway, before we go off topic, all the self-made billionaires, whom we have potential to become like, have one thing in common that makes their businesses worth billions of dollars, and in some cases, like Microsoft, trillions of dollars. All billionaires use the 3 types of leverage, and I do not mean the Wall Street bets kind of leverage, but rather labor, capital, and product. Let me get deep into each of them before we continue. 1. Labor leverage. Labor-based leverage is people and is the oldest form of leverage. The ancient Egyptians leveraging slaves to build pyramids. The law firm leveraging associates to deliver legal services. The startup leveraging developers to build product. These are examples of labor leverage. Labor-based leverage is messy because humans are irrational. Everyone has their own worldview, values, and incentives which don't always align with the goals of the principal and organization. Firms spend enormous resources on aligning the incentives of all its constituents to fulfill the mission of the company. Culture and leadership programs, learning and development, Christmas parties, and financial incentive programs. Humans don't act like robots. We all need a purpose to inspire us. It's far easier to work with people that have the same values as us. This is why the best companies are ruthless when it comes to hiring. People like us do things like this. If we work with people we like, we can achieve more together, faster. It's important to consider that a labor-based business model is one of the worst forms of leverage. It's better to have fewer people in your organization with a high amount of output. You can build a small but high-value output firm by leveraging other forms of assets, capital, and product. A heuristic to understand an organization's leverage is the metric revenue per employee. This is calculated as the firm's annual revenue divided by headcount. The majority of small businesses have relatively low revenue per employee, as they are service-based business, which by definition is leveraging labor. Contrast this to some of the world's most valuable companies, like Berkshire Hathaway and Google, that have high revenues per employee, over $1 million. These are examples of firms that leverage capital and product in addition to labor. 2. Capital leverage. Capital leverage is a more complex form of leverage compared to labor leverage. Capital leverage is anything to do with money, share trading, lending, banking, investing, and funds management. If you look at the roles of CEOs of large companies, you will realize that their job is an asset manager. Her role is to allocate capital to grow the value of the company. It's important to note that capital is a powerful form of leverage. You can convert it to labor and product leverage. Equally, capital leverage scales well. One small team of technical fund managers can manage billions of capitals. The challenge is that capital is hard to obtain. Obtaining capital relies on specific knowledge, track record, and good judgment. In other words, you need to understand how it works and how to best invest it. 3. Product leverage. Product leverage is the newest form of leverage. A product is anything of value that isn't labor or capital. It's the toilet paper you buy, the software you use to run your business. It's the videos you watch on YouTube. There are 2 forms of product, physical and digital product. The difference between the 2 products is the marginal cost of replication. Marginal cost is the extra amount of costs it takes to make one more of something. If the cost to produce a widget is $3, I need to incur an additional $3 for every widget I produce. These costs are variable in nature. The more I sell, the more costs I incur. Digital products are superior forms of product because the marginal cost of replication is zero. The cost to replicate a PDF file, to share a podcast, or to replicate software is essentially nothing. As the cost of producing the unit is fixed, the codebase and hosting, digital product businesses utilize scale economies. Gross profit margins grow with more users. This is why the world's most valuable companies are media and technology businesses. Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Google. All of these organizations sell zero marginal cost products. Firms that build digital products leverage labor and capital to build code-based leverage. The code and IP are the asset which is being created and leveraged by users. There are significant upfront costs to build digital product businesses. Teams of developers and product designers invest hours to create and build the product upfront. The returns are generated as these digital assets are leveraged over their lifetime. As long as the product is being consumed by users, there are limited diminishing returns. It is a permanent asset in the ecosystem, which can infinitely be leveraged by the market. Contrast this to a physical product which has a shelf life, or leveraging labor in a service business, which is limited by hours in the day and mental bandwidth. Code-based businesses leverages an army of robots that don't eat, sleep, shit, or complain. These workers work whilst you sleep. They are the perfect workers, which is why you should leverage them. For these reasons, digital product business models are attractive to venture capitalists and investors. They print money. What we can learn from this. So, should we all quit our jobs and start building digital products? Sure, if you want. Start a YouTube channel, a podcast, an app. Whatever you do, focus on creating leverage. Build assets. We all have one input to creating leverage. That is time. How we choose to invest that time correlates to the potential leverage we can create. Leverage equals value. Value equals wealth. Wealth equals freedom. Building financial wealth is contingent on one accepting accountability and risk. If you want to get rich, you need to act like an entrepreneur and investor. A business is a vehicle to replicate yourself. A business is a vehicle that can create leverage that is not bound by you or your hours in the day. Building a financially successful business is mostly about what business model you choose to operate. Code and media product business models are leveraged by the newly rich. Software and media are powered by robots that work for you while you sleep. If you want to build wealth, focus on creating leverage.